Hello, Taurus, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of September 27th through October 4th. And during that time, the moon goes through several phases. We have the waxing crescent into the first quarter on the 30th, and then the waxing gibbous energy. And what that means really is those waxing phases are kind of buckle down, get to work phases, a good time to really focus and just accomplish and get things done that you started on the in the new cycle and the new moon. But then that first quarter is kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of the full moon energy. So it's a little bit more impulsive and patient, a little bit, your mind's a little active, it's hard to settle down. But so pay attention to that. It comes in on the 30th, and just kind of work around that if you need to meditate through it, or if you can take that energy and use it in a positive way. So please keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Taurus. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is balance, spirituality, and practicality. All right, Taurus, let's see what you guys have going on. The Taurus Collective. As I'm shuffling, I would like to say that my fun weekly reminder this week is that you keep a spiritual journal. Sometimes we don't recognize the patterns that are evolving in our life, or the patterns that are happening in our life and helping us evolve spiritually, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But keeping track of those in a journal. And this could be things that you're coming across, like synchronicities that you're having, or maybe number patterns, animals that you're encountering. I forgot that I saw a coyote last night. I need to here's how I use the animal thing. If whatever I have going on in my life at the time, if I see an animal that I don't encounter all the time, and I certainly don't see coyotes every day here, but it was the middle of the night and I was letting my cat out, and I was so glad that the coyote just went right past and didn't even see my cat, which was great. But it makes me think that I need to look up, what are the elements of the coyote, and where in my life do I need to apply that. That's really how I see, those animal encounters that I may have. And that was pretty weird last night. It was literally the middle of the night. The cat wanted out. I got out of bed, but when I opened the door, I saw this coyote. I was like, oh, freaky. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, keep a spiritual journal. I'm sorry, I'm having a rambly day. But this could be, again, animals you encounter, maybe dreams that you have, that sort of thing. But write those things down, and sometimes they just you need that information later. And if you don't write it down, you'll forget it. So keep that in mind as you're moving through your week, is to try to work on making a spiritual journal so it can help you with your evolution. So especially since Taurus says you're trying to balance spirituality and practicality. All right, without further ado, let's get into this reading, Taurus, September 27th through October 4th. Let's see why you guys need to balance your spirituality and practicality. It's really good advice. You guys must have something specific going on. Oh, two cards coming out. First, your present energy, Page of Pentacles. So maybe it's coming out because you have something new here on the horizon. Pages are about a new path. This could be, for some of you, this is a new job. For some of you, this is a new path just with your money. Maybe learning how to do some sort of investments, or, where to keep that money that you're making. It's just something, or something, it could be something like a new sofa. I mean, it really could literally just be a new material item. It's just something new that comes into you into the material world. Your current situation is the moon. Okay, so if we're balancing spirituality and practicality, the moon is one of those cards of mystery. It's about things that are uncovered in the night, right? So this is about having dreams, having synchronicities, things that the universe is trying to point you in a particular way. And you just have to be open to the signs and watching those things, and let that help guide your intuition. But this is about like the subconscious and those things that are just below the surface. So what is that for you? Pay attention to those things this week. It could be that there's some sign coming in for you, and it could be in the form of a dream. It could be an animal. It depends. There's lots of different ways in which the universe speaks to you. Sometimes when it happens and you start recognizing it, it does become more and more obvious. At the root of your situation is the Four of Swords. So maybe a little bit of rest and meditation, and maybe that meditation is what brings something to light for you. That certainly could be. I wouldn't be shocked. That's what meditation is for. It's there to kind of quiet the outside world and get you inside so that you can hear that voice that's inside of you all the time. Okay, what is just behind you this week is feeling like you against the world here with the 7 of Wands. So maybe you're coming out of some situation where you were trying to stand up for a thing, and you're just kind of feeling like the cheese that stands alone. This could be a thought, an idea, a way of doing things, whatever. But this new material thing that comes in is kind of the catalyst for helping you see something that's maybe been hidden. And like I said, it could be anything. It could be a new crystal that you pick up. It could be just there's some material thing that's going to play a role in this. I see it. It doesn't have to be something huge. But pay attention to that. And maybe something very practical. Okay, what's on your mind this week is the Knight of Pentacles. So this is about action in the way of material things, or again, this could be money or a material thing, but there is some sort of action that's on your mind that you need to do something with this new thing that's coming in. And again, for some of you, this will be about investments, about a new job, but it could be as big as that or as small as just some new material thing. But there is some sort of action, or I can almost see it like as some sort of catalyst for some reason. There's some sort of catalyst about this material thing that comes to you, that maybe it makes you real, it makes you live a different way, it makes you act a different way, it does something. There's some effect on it, on having this thing, or I don't know, having this thing in your presence. It's okay. We'll see as we go forward here. What is just ahead of you is the world. So this is perfect balance. This is dreams come true. This is the end of the fool's journey. So this is some sort of ending that you're moving into, and this could be a realization that you have that kind of ends one way of your being and into a new way of being. And I almost see this as like maybe for some of you some sort of spiritual awakening that you're going through. That you're asking certain questions that you don't have the answers to. There's some rest and meditation. There's maybe been something that happened in the practical world that you're bringing a spiritual slant into, and it's only because it's just there, you can't avoid it. And where before maybe you felt like it was you against the world, you might be coming more in line with other people that are around you into a way of thinking. So for some of you, this could be a pretty big spiritual awakening. I'm really feeling that. In your advice position is the 5 of Cups, which is very interesting because I just had this at the end. This was the wrap up on the Aries reading. So if you have any Aries around you, because this is in your advice is to kind of feel it and let something go. And this was kind of the same of this was kind of the outcome of the Aries reading. So interesting when I start to see these cards overlap in the readings, which I always do. It's very interesting. But so your advice is to kind of just feel the sadness of the thing, whatever it is. There's something that's kind of affecting you, and it's definitely got you in your feelings a little bit. But things are kind of being uncovered, and I'm going to say go with it. And I will again, I think for some of you this will be a spiritual awakening. Again, start a journal. Start writing this stuff down. What is it that you're feeling? What was the catalyst? What was the thing that happened in the world? In the material world that made you maybe think things on a more spiritual level. That you've had some sort of little light bulb moment, something go off that was hidden. Something that's been hidden from you before is now becoming illuminated, and it's awesome. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Fool come out because you're at the end of one part of your journey and now entering into another part. So what is beyond your control this week is the Lover's card. So it looks like you have the support of someone that is close to you. With this, that's beyond your control. You have someone there to talk to about this, and someone, this isn't like a coworker. I mean, this literally is a partner, or someone that you're more romantic or open to on a deeper level to have these conversations with. So that's awesome that you have that sort of support. What is your secret desire? What you're trying to avoid is the Knight of Swords. So maybe it is your secret desire to communicate this as quickly as possible and talk about it, and really just forge ahead with this new information that you're excited about. You want to talk about it. or you're trying to avoid this. So this will be your big question of the week, and it'll be different. Some of you will want to talk about it and get it out on the table. Some of you may want to keep it under wraps. Either way is fine. That's just your big question to decide how best to move forward with this information this week for you. And your outcome is the Temperance card, which I love. This is one of my favorite cards in the entire tarot deck. This is the card of inspiration. This is, to me, this is the opposite of the devil. This is like the angel that is on your shoulder saying everything's going to be okay. And look, I love that your balance, spirituality, and practicality was your overall reading card. And that's literally, if you look at her feet, we've got one in the real world here, one in the emotional world, and we're literally balancing that. So, you do have to balance your any spiritual awakenings that you go through. And I say awakenings because spiritual awakening is not a thing that happens one time. This is something that's phases you go through, where you have an awakening on a certain level and you learn a thing. And it's kind of like, and each awakening that you go through is kind of like an upgrade. It's like you learn the next thing that you've just now marched through life for the past whatever period of time not knowing about, and all of a sudden this new thing is revealed to you. So to me, it's like layers of an onion. It's getting peeled back and you learn more and more information. But each time you do have to balance what you're learning with the world around you, with the practical world around you. How do I apply this thing in my life? And so you just start with yourself. How do you apply it to yourself? How do you apply it in your relationships, in your home, with your friends, your family, your spouse, your partner? And then how do you let that branch out now and apply that to your community, to wherever, so, and you're going to keep branching that out, and so that you are putting that light into the world, but you have to start with you and the close things around you. So I hope that made sense. It was a bit of an explanation, but I do love that you're going through this, Taurus, whatever it is for you. It seems to be positive, and I love it. Again, I wouldn't be surprised to see, in fact, let's see what's hidden from you this week. I was looking for, oh, well, hidden from you is the High Priestess, which I see as very much like the moon. This is almost like, because this is a major arcana, this is also, it's the same energy of the moon, but this is kind of the deeper, this goes even deeper with the High Priestess. So that's hidden from you a little bit this week. So you might just be scratching the surface on this, which is fine. Just keep learning, keep digging, keep seeking out information. It might be why you're at a tarot reading right now. You may be out there looking for information, waiting for the universe to guide you in a particular way. So I do love that. Let's get a final word here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Taurus as they go through this spiritual awakening. Begin to explore. Perfect. For some of you, this may be a brand new thing. This may be the first time that you have gone through. This may be your first big awakening. Just know that there's more coming and enjoy it. Enjoy what you're learning. Go ahead, begin to explore. This is reading books, talking to people, listening to tarot readers, listening to sermons. You may want to go to a church service. There's so many different ways in which to explore the spiritual world. And the universe is, if you're paying attention, the universe will definitely guide you in those ways and show you those open doors, put books right in front of you, that sort of thing. You do start to notice that when it comes to information. So, all right, let's get a self-care wisdom card for Taurus. What does Taurus need to do in the way of self-care this week as they seem to be going through this spiritual awakening, which I really love? Authenticity is the card that comes up for you. Live life for you, not the audience in your head. Live life for you, not the audience in your head. So yeah, go ahead and begin to explore, seek out information, and figure out what resonates for you. That's really what it is. If something feels right, then there you are. If it doesn't, then there maybe you are not there, right? So, so go ahead and explore those things. And work on, again, balancing that spirituality with practicality. So learning spiritual things, again, is about now applying it to your life, applying it to your person. Who you make a decision, I'm going to be this way moving forward, and you go ahead and apply those things, and that's the way you live, and that's how you practice that. So, Taurus, I really appreciate you being here with me today. I do hope there was something in here that you can take away and use this week in your own life. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a message in the comments. Let me know, was there some catalyst to your spiritual awakening? Was it something material, as that was indicated here in this reading, something material or tangible that happened in the world that just kind of brought you to a different place, which is amazing. That's usually how that happens, right? But it'll be different for all of you. But drop me a comment, let me know. Also, if you like my reading style, of course, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel. But more importantly, Taurus, it'll help you find me next week, where you are so welcome to come back, and we'll see where this energy takes us next time. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time, Taurus. Bye-bye.